Hey, so welcome back. And now we're gonna resume our discussion. I'm having so much fun talking to our lovely panelists about their experiences in Taiwan. And right now, I would like to talk about education because you're all educators here. You're all educators here in Taiwan. And I know growing up here, I went through kindergarten, grade school, it was 6 years, and I went to middle school, it was 3 years, then high school, another 3 years, and 4 years of university. That's kind of the usual learning journey that most Taiwanese students grew up with. And I'm just wondering, in regard to education, as far as the educational system is set up, or any sort of styles of teaching that you have observed here in Taiwan that are different from something that you grew up with or something that you were used to back in your home country. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. Is there anything that comes to mind, Darren?
Sure. Um, Testing. When I was in university in Canada, tests were not important. When I was in school, period, in elementary school, high school, university, tests were the least important thing. The teacher would tell you, this does not matter. It's just a test. The important thing was reports and speeches and how you interacted in class, things like that. And in university, my professors would often tell me that because in the 1970s, our university had made a rule that we had to have a midterm and a final exam because they were scared of all these hippies doing crazy things. But the professor did not want to have a midterm or a final exam, so he's like, I have to do this, but it's not important. It will not change your mark. It's all about your participation in class and your speeches or your reports, things like that. And so when I came here and I see everyone cramming for tests that I've been taught are not terribly important, it seems a little weird. And on the other hand, reports and things that I think are really important where you really actually learn, students are like, it's not a test. It's not that important. So it's totally the opposite.
Yeah, I don't think any teacher here in Taiwan would tell you that tests are not important. That's probably something they would never say because they're so centered here. It's the focus here. Everyone goes to the so-called cram school, the intensive English classes or classes for other subjects, and they go there just so that they can excel at whatever subject they're taking at school. And
yes, for a 2-hour period, and then after that it's whatever. If it all falls out of your head, that's fine.
Right, you absorb everything, but you forget everything.
Yeah.
After the test is over. And yeah, it seems to be the way things are done here on the island. And a lot of times it's about studying and more studying. But participation is also key. I think participation can be more important than studying because it shows that you're actively involved in classroom discussions. That's a good point. And Donovan, anything?
I don't know how to say anything politely without deeply insulting the Taiwanese education system, but it's very different from what we had in South Africa. I want to talk about high school. High school, I had classes from 8 o'clock till 2 p.m. And then we would go home.
Wow.
Sometimes you would stay behind to do sports, but sometimes not. You'd go home, you'd do homework, you'd play with your friends, and you would have a life. You were exploring life with yourself and your friends, not just studying for tests. The thought of going to a cram school would have been unheard of. And now the thing is, I do not think that a South African student, when they get to the end and they graduate from high school, I do not think a South African student is stupider than a Taiwanese student. It's just they weren't pushed as much, so they got to learn things by themselves and also got to learn to have their own opinions. So the high school system in Taiwan makes me feel sympathy for my students.
I think in South Africa, just from what you said, you were given the opportunity to explore your own world. And 2 p.m. I didn't hear it incorrectly. It was 2 p.m.
No, 2 p.m.
Wow.
What time do people get off high school? Yeah.
4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they have to stay for the 8th period, and that lasts till 5 p.m. And sometimes there's night study sessions
Of course there are.
that last till 8 or even 9 p.m. When I was in high school, I went to a private high school, and it was so academically focused. So what we had to do, we didn't have any extracurricular activities, unfortunately. What we had to do was study for 12 periods a day. And we would have 3 self-study sessions during the nighttime hours. And yes, it was
Harsh.
It was harsh. It was
harsh.
boring. It was the only thing that we had to do. And we also got a lot of nap time, sometimes.
Okay.
You can slack
You
off a
need
bit.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
But certainly the cram school culture was non-existent in South Africa.
So I think I'm going to speak for my colleagues here as well. I think for us, we would just prefer it if by the time our students got to university, they were more confident in voicing their own opinions and their own ideas and were able to do that. And I'm not sure if this focus on tests, constant focus on tests, helps them to present themselves.
But do you think in South Africa, when students go to university, they are more focused academically?
They're more able to give their own opinions. Yeah.
Maybe in high school, they have more relaxing activities along the side, like extracurricular activities, sports, other things. But in university, they're really putting their mind on one certain discipline that they really have to excel. Okay. But I've noticed a change here, maybe because I went to a private high school, and now for students that go to public schools here, high schools here in Taiwan, they do encourage students to participate in extracurricular activities, so they get to choose their own clubs and they develop their musical gifts, or they do dancing, they explore themselves in a debate club or something like that. So I think perhaps it's gearing more toward the idea of being well-rounded and not just always
Of course.
focusing on their academic pursuits. And I think that is moving toward in the right direction. And Kevin, is there anything?
I guess my opinion's based on I've got 2 children and they're both in elementary school right now. I've got mixed feelings about the education system at that level. There is a lot more like, especially the earlier ages, most of the afternoons are dedicated to some kind of fun activity, like some kind of club or some kind of science, science club basically, or sports or whatever. There is quite a lot of that in there. My youngest has just started. She's doing dance club, and I think she wanted to do taekwondo, but my wife didn't want her because she'd get hit in the face or something. But they're doing lots of different things. My son, he's like the final year of elementary school, and the cramming culture is like there now. He does have midterms and finals, and he does spend a lot of time. Like his final exam week is this week, and he's been cramming for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, the thing about cramming for tests is it's the one skill you learn in school that you will never use once you leave. Like, it's completely useless in your work life. You never do it. It's kind of, and it's difficult because, like, he's in the Taiwanese system. So much as I dislike it, and much as I'd rather he didn't do it, I don't see how he can succeed in the system unless he does it. And so it's like he does actually need to get good grades to get into a decent university. And I believe the higher up the universities you go, the more
prestige.
Well, yeah. Like say, I mean, from talking to people who sort of teach in NTU, it's a lot more relaxed. It's a lot less about like exams and a lot more about what you do and a lot more about developing opinions and things like that, depending on what subject you take. But yeah, at the same time, it's kind of hard. I know he kind of has to do it. I really don't like it. But because I think it's useless.
But even in grade school, he participates in club activities.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure what clubs he's doing right now. They kind of cut down a bit as the years go on. He's doing table tennis. There's this science club. He's really into science, actually. There's other things as well. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but he's
swimming.
He's at that stage. Oh, swimming. He's at that stage where he could just cram at the last minute, because in elementary school, I guess things are easier and you don't have to learn a lot of complex concepts for different topics.
It's hard for me compared to my elementary school where I didn't cram at all.
Oh, right.
We had a spelling test once a month where we'd have to learn like 10 words.
Wow, there you're talking about my passion.
Yeah. But you would have found it easy. But one thing about cram schools that I was against them, but I found out like cram schools is one of the few places that children get to socialize at night. Like they actually hang out with other people, because like even good cram schools, they don't push them that hard. I think maybe bad cram schools do, because they can be like horrible places which are very cheap and people just send them because they don't want to pay for a babysitter. But like good cram schools, like you can tell the kids are actually enjoying talking to each other and being around each other, and it is like a social thing which they don't really get outside of cram school.
Yeah, a lot of people, I know some people, they go to cram schools because they want to make new friends. They don't necessarily care about what they are learning.
I mean, adults like that as well. Yeah.
Right, so it's an opportunity for them to explore themselves, not just the thing they're learning, but maybe building their relationships with other kids or other students of their age. And I think that's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
Yeah, it's the main positive.
But it is true when you said that a lot of other kids are going to cram school and they're studying more, they're learning more things. So if your kid isn't doing the same thing, then he feels kind of left out, and maybe he cannot excel in this competitive environment.
Well, also it's like a lot of teachers apparently take it for granted that they don't have to teach. They can cram a lot of it. In the daytime schools, they can actually teach a lot of material and cover a lot of material and not really care if the kids can take it in, because they're going to go to cram school and then they're going to spend the spare time cramming it anyway. So it does kind of... And also a lot of teachers accept, I heard in like junior high, senior high, that their kids are going to be basically falling asleep in class because they've been going to cram schools all night. So it's kind of a little doom loop of bad education, really.
Yeah, some students, I've had some students who just rely on their cram school lessons to learn what they have to learn. So they sleep at school. They don't care about anything the teacher teaches at school because they rely on this evening thing that would get them to learn all the lessons they need to learn.
Well, I mean, that's one last little thing of education is like, I've definitely got one or two students who don't pay attention in my classes. And it's kind of like in England, it would just be like, especially at university, if you wanted to sleep, fine, but you leave the room. You know what I mean? If you want to turn up late, okay, just come next week. But, you know, it is your grade. You have to make up all the work by yourself. And it's kind of like, I don't know if we could ever say that to students. Just say, okay, lesson started, lock the door. I would personally be comfortable, and if I was a student, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair enough. If it was a job, I'd be in trouble for showing up this late. If it was a job, I'd be in trouble for like being asleep at my desk. Well, maybe not in some companies that I've seen, but I don't know. There's something in it's educational cultural shock. Some things are different, and I don't see why.
Right, but on the positive side, I got to learn English early on in life.
Yeah.
And I went to cram school, and there I got to learn my alphabet, and that later built me up for learning more about English, and that's where I found an edge, and I felt like I had an advantage over others.
Oh, it definitely helps learning English, like at an early age, it's far easier to just like,
Right.
even if you just get the basics,
Right.
then you can build on that.
Roland, you're an exception.
Okay.
No, I mean in that people are given the opportunities, but you were ready for the opportunity, and you took a liking to English. And yeah, so all of these different English influences have made you who you are, but they've been wasted on a lot of other people.
Yeah, I guess I had the opportunity, and I made the most of that opportunity. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here leading a podcast in English. But something interesting to think about. But I would like to move on to some of the challenges, because we talked about the educational systems here in Taiwan and in your home country. But what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first arrived on the island, or maybe some of the challenges that you presently face, even after having lived here for 10, 20 years? You might still find some things a little awkward or hard to accept or deal with. Darren, is there anything that you can think of? Anything that maybe even daily challenges or challenges that you encounter in your day-to-day work or family life?
Well, I'm sure there has to be hundreds, but I haven't really thought about that very much. I think even doing just simple little things can sometimes be a struggle, because you have to go through the language barrier and the cultural barrier. So sometimes I need to do institutional things where I have to go and deal with like a Taiwanese insurance company, a Taiwanese bank, or something like that. And it can be quite a chore, and I can accidentally cause quite a kerfuffle in the institution itself as well. So right now I'm dealing with health insurance issues, and like the health insurance agent is constantly phoning me and asking me this and asking me that and trying to get it all straight. Whereas if I were Taiwanese, I would probably have this all fixed up in a matter of hours. It's been going on for about 2 weeks. And so that kind of thing is a challenge. And also dealing with institutional issues like social issues, because I don't know what social institutions are available in Taiwan. So I have a Taiwanese family, and sometimes they need some help and support, but I don't really understand exactly what's available in Taiwan. And it's hard for me to find that information because it's all in Chinese, and no one has really thought that there would be a foreigner who needs access to that information. So there's no real availability of English or even attempt to make some sort of availability of that information.
Wow. I think the language barrier still plays a big role in your challenges.
Yes.
But I mean, the government is trying to promote this bilingual theme or scheme to make the country more internationalized. Donovan, it looks like there's something you'd like to say.
Well, just the bilingual thing. How Taiwan is going to be bilingual in a few years, I have absolutely no idea. I still, when I got married here, had to, and again, it's my own fault for not knowing the language enough. Everybody knows how to write their own names in Chinese, but I didn't. And I had to write my name repeatedly to get married in Chinese. I had to have a Chinese name, and repeatedly, and the staff and my husband and the witnesses and everybody just loved it, because I was just making such a mess with my characters. And I'm doing this all and I'm thinking, aren't we supposed to be bilingual yet? And we're not even close to things being bilingual in Taiwan yet.
Well, it's a lofty goal.
It's a very lofty goal. It's okay, you can call it lofty if you like. I have other words for it.
Well, for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And wow, writing your name in Chinese, that definitely could be a challenge.
You can use a stamp. I use the stamp.
Yes, but I don't have a stamp. I
Okay.
don't have a stamp yet.
They're recommended.
That's another challenge.
Okay, I tell you what. If we have another podcast in the future, you can watch me trying to write my name. It'll take a while,
Fair enough. Mine's actually impossible to write, so I can't.
so you have to have the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And now that you've lived in Taiwan for many years, I'm sure you have your likes and dislikes about the country, right? Sometimes you see something that's really related to where you grew up, or you see something that's so strange that you absolutely abhor. So I'm sure there are some things that you can share with us, something that you like and maybe something that you don't necessarily like that much about Taiwan. Kevin?
Something I like?
Right.
I'd say my cats. They're quite cute.
Oh,
They're
your
very
cats.
cute. They're Taiwanese. But you want something like officially Taiwanese.
Right.
Okay. I quite like the temperature this kind of year. It feels comfy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like t-shirt weather.
You like the winter here.
Yeah. It's a very comfortable winter. It's very like in England. It's snowing and frosty right now. I've seen videos. Pictures.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Everyone's like wearing like sweaters and coats indoors because like electricity and heating is very expensive right now as well. So
Is it true that it's always or almost always overcast in England?
definitely some parts. Yeah. The further up north you go, and
Okay.
probably yeah.
Darren, anything?
Sure. I really like Taiwanese people a lot. I find them friendly, engaging, outgoing, kind. So that's my main reason for still living here. And dislikes, I like Taiwanese food. I really, really do. I eat almost everything. But I dislike hot pot and red beans.
What about stinky tofu?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I love almost everything, but I don't understand why people think hot pot is good. I mean, if you think about it logically, boiling food, boiling meat, is the worst way to cook it. You take all the flavor out, and you're left with this soggy mess, and then Taiwanese people eat it and go, oh, so good. No, it's not. It's terrible.
Well, they revel in the sauce.
Yeah, they revel in the sauce. In my mind, I think they revel in the fact that it's a slow thing to eat and it takes time and you can talk with people, but clearly it's not delicious. And same red beans. I mean, how is that dessert? It's not sweet. It tastes and feels a little bit like dirt. If you go to Europe, you have these wonderful desserts. They're so rich, thick, creamy, sweet, so much flavor. And you come to Asia and you have dessert and it's like slightly sweet dirt. So I don't like those things.
I agree with you on how people enjoy hot pot because they like the ambiance that it gives them, and red beans are another story. So, Donovan, anything?
Red beans.
Do you like red beans?
No, of course not. It's not supposed to be part of a dessert. So if the question is, what do I like about Taiwan? It's like, oh my God, nothing.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, like we've covered a lot of things already. The safety. I can feel relaxed around people around here. I love my students, even though they sleep too much in class and they want to use their phones too much. I love my amazing colleagues. I really do feel okay, and I'm gonna try not to cry here, guys. But I really do feel I got lucky with colleagues, because you could end up working with really sick, irritating people. And all of my foreign colleagues from different countries, oh, now that's something I like. I've gotten to meet people from many different countries through my work. Canada, America, England, Australia, New Zealand. I know people from everywhere because we're all expats in Taiwan, and that's lovely to experience different cultures. and I love my expat colleagues and my Taiwanese colleagues very much.
Wow. Yeah. I think a lot of people like Taiwan because of its people, and a lot of expats comment on the conviviality of the people and the hospitality of the people here on the island, how they're welcoming, and one instance that Darren alluded to earlier was how people would stare at you or approach you aggressively. But I guess now people are more accepting and they're more used to seeing people internationally, so they're not as aggressive. Hopefully not.
Okay, Taiwanese people are not that friendly. No. I just want to say this right now because I think it's because South Africans, where I come from, are very friendly. You speak with the person next to you while you're waiting in a queue, while you're waiting in a line. You speak to your neighbors. You chat to people all the time. So when I first came to Taiwan and I was told by Taiwanese people that Taiwanese people were that friendly, my thoughts were, well, you're okay. But don't think you're the friendliest people in the world, because there are friendlier people out there. So you can work on that friendliness.
Right.
That's true. I come from Canada, and like not a terribly friendly group of people. Cold, you know. And how about England?
It depends where you go, but yeah, in rural England they can be friendly to their people. They're very tight circles, but they can also, if you're not part of the village, you're not part of the village. They don't.
So you need to find your exclusive circle.
Yeah. I mean, like, I went up north. It's a lot more friendly up there. It's a lot more people, a lot more open, just, you know, you go. Generally, if you want to talk to people, go to a pub. You'll meet people there to talk, just to have a good time. At least when I was there. But British people can be quite reserved as well.
So don't get me wrong, Taiwanese people are friendly. I just don't think they're as friendly as they think they are. Can I ask Darren and Kevin, how friendly do you think Taiwanese people are? Are they as friendly as they think they are?
I don't know, but I do find them very, very friendly. But I come from a cold place.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fine, friendly, yeah. To me.
Okay, well, South Africans are very friendly, so Taiwan,
Yeah, I have,
help yourself and be friendlier, okay?
What about the South Africans that mug you?
Well, we're friendly when we're not killing each other.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just the flip side of touchy-feely.
Okay. A little too close to my wallet.
Yeah, but I do like how Donovan mentioned the close-knit community. Even for you expats living here in Taiwan, you have almost an ethnic potpourri of people from different cultures and backgrounds. And I think in the foreign place, it's also good for you to find a community where you could relate to people from your area. And that is another kind of community outside of the Taiwanese community, where, you know, people welcome you in Taiwan, but you also need to find your little clique sort of to get that feel of home sometimes. And I think you found that some of that, at least here at your workplace, where you have colleagues and you interact and you hang out, and I think that's good. Okay, I do want to talk about how, because sometimes being a lecturer or a teacher at university can be very stressful. You know, you have students, maybe they hand in their assignments late, they always show up late, and I know your pet peeve, they use their phones in class. It seems to be an inevitable thing now. But there must be ways that you go around de-stressing, right? There must be ways you go around relieving that stress that you have from work, from family obligations, from your daily life. So I would like to ask you to share with us some of the things that you like to do to de-stress on a regular basis. Kevin?
I'll go running or or do exercise at the gym, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook. They're my main go-tos.
Spend time with your kids.
Yeah. Sometimes that is really relaxing, especially if like
Oops, forgot about that one.
yeah. Well, no, because normally it's like pulling your hair out, like especially if you've got two kids, like they're always active, they're always up to something. If you go out, you always got to make sure that they're not going to like jump off some high ledge or just play with some sharp object or something. It happens. They think they're cool. So but if they're actually like really into something, or maybe just watching a movie with my kids, is kind of cool, especially if they're into it.
Yeah, a lot of the de-stressing activities need to be done in solitude.
Yeah, basically, so you don't have to think.
Right. Okay. And Darren?
So Taiwan actually, or Taipei anyway, has a pretty good bicycling culture, and I like to go bicycling to de-stress. But also on essentially every block, there's a massage parlor. That's a great thing. And in every neighborhood, there's a special spa. Also good.
I really like the U-bike they have here in Taipei, and you could just ride the U-bike and you could go anywhere you want to go. You can exercise, you can enjoy the view, you can find new paths and new shops. So it's really good. I like biking too. Yeah. And Donovan?
My main way of de-stressing is failing students.
Oh, is it?
If I fail a student, it just brings me such joy.
Wow.
Be a relaxing week for you.
Okay, I'm kidding. I want all of my students to pass. I do want all of my students to pass.
We know.
I try and help them. So I read. I love movies.
You have something you want to show us.
Look, there are unhealthy and there are healthy ways of de-stressing. A healthy way would be your cats. Let's see, where can we put them in there? There's my cat Gandalf. There's Atreides. He's my newest cat. Little black cat. Super crazy. Rorschach. Sweetheart. Annie, he's the big fat cat. Okay, Goods is the dead cat. Goods is the cat we don't have anymore. We have 5 cats. And there is Peter, who is just crazy. So my cats, like Kevin, my cats help me de-stress. Everybody should have some cats that they look after to help them let go of the pressure.
Wow. Yeah. I figure at some point you were going to show us your felines or representations of them.
I think my students and my viewing public expect it.
Yeah, anyone who knows Donovan knows about his enthusiasm and great zeal for his furry friends. Yeah, for me, like I said, I like to ride the U-bike around Taipei. I like to go window shopping and sometimes just engage in people watching, because there are many different people walking on the streets, and enjoying nature is another thing I like to do. I like to go hiking in the mountains and just breathe in the fresh air. That's something I do to de-stress, and also look at some difficult to spell words. Yeah. That's for me. And
Let me ask you, what's your favorite word of the week?
What's my favorite word of the week? I recently taught my students the word genre.
Okay.
I like the way it sounds. It's a pretty useful word.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. But I just like that French feel it has. Okay. Yeah,
we teach it to our students. Our first year students have to know the word genre.
Right.
It's an important word.
But it surprises me how many people in Taiwan do not know the word genre, because it sounds so weird and it's spelled in a weird manner.
It sounds lovely, genre.
Yeah. But there's a melodic feel to it. Anyway, so I would like to also talk about how I'm sure you have had family members or friends who want to visit Taiwan. And what would be some suggestions or some advice you would give to people who want to settle down in Taiwan for an extended period of time, or maybe you have friends and family who want to visit for a short term, what advice can you give to those people? Kevin, is there anything you would say to them to get them prepared for their trip here?
Go on the internet. Try and get outside of Taipei. If you're visiting, if you're a tourist, it's very easy to spend the whole time in Taipei, but there's lots of just great scenery outside of Taipei.
Because Taipei has so much to offer, but there's still a lot of other places they should also go to.
Oh yeah, down the east coast, down south, I guess down the west coast as well. I mean, if you go down to Taichung, you've got all that area there. But also, like the east coast is a place I wish I went to more, just because the scenery is so damn beautiful. Because there's so much variety in Taiwan and so many things to see. And I know when my family come over, they basically stay in Taipei because it's really convenient. But use all the transportation, use the high-speed rail, use the other rail. It works. And see as much of the islands as you can.
Okay, good advice. Darren?
For visitors, basically the same as him. I just tell them
Sorry
to look
about
on the internet. And to get outside Taipei is very important. And I suggest some places they can go and some places that are less common to go. And for people who want to stay long term, I have a piece of advice that I often give that's kind of terrible, but I think it's good. I tell them to eat all the food, everything, no matter how gross it looks. Stomach, intestines, everything, because it creates in your mind an openness to experience new things and to be willing to do all kinds of new things. So I think it's symptomatic if you're coming to Taiwan, you're just eating, hamburgers and French fries, then you're closed off to a big part of the culture, the food culture, but you're probably closing yourself off to other aspects of the culture as well.
So stepping out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Trying new things, being
Yeah.
open-minded.
Yeah, and food, it hits you where you live, so that's a good place to start, because if you can deal with, pig's blood patty, then you can deal with some other cultural things.
Yeah, a lot of it is an acquired taste, but they do have to step out of their comfort zone and
Yeah, you have to try.
and venture out, right? Donovan?
Well, exactly what these two are saying. Like I was saying before, culture shock can be much more subtle. And if you're just having hamburgers and French fries and you're only staying in Taipei, that's kind of culture shock. You have to get out and see that there's nature out there and that there's beauty in Taiwan, and to try out different things.
Okay. Yeah, so travel around the island,
Yeah,
not just
absolutely.
be limited to what Taipei has to offer. And the East Coast or the North Coast, there is some spectacular scenery you can take in.
Mm-hmm.
And going down south, the Love River in Kaohsiung and some other tourist attractions, just a lot of beauty in the landscape of the island. And I still haven't gotten used to living or eating intestines, because I personally do not eat any slimy.
Have them deep fried. They're crispy. They're
You
great.
don't have to, just because Darren says.
I don't know if that's a good policy.
Okay.
Yeah, I get frightened just getting that texture of it being slimy.
I get frightened of there still being poop in that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the flavor, actually.
Oh,
But if it's deep fried, it's great. Like, you could deep fry a salad and it would be awesome. So,
okay. Just the cooking method matters.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a little break here, and when we come back, we will talk more about. We have 2 more points to cover. Yeah, so let's take a little break.
All right.